for now, the rest of the players that you're about to sign are the players who are going to leave. It can be done in England. There's no need of traveling to the USA to finalize deals. So that is quite likely the reason why Edwards traveled back to England to get some deals done, not just in terms of incomings, but outgoings as well, probably to finalize deals of the likes of Smith Rowe and some incomings that you're going to discuss for sure. So that is the only reason I can think of, because he could easily have just traveled with the rest of the team to Philadelphia for the 4 days, and then he stayed there, and then he goes back with them to England. But no, it seems like they want to get a couple of deals done very, very quickly. And that is the reason why he's traveled back to England. So I'm very sure we're going to be cooking something the next 10 days. We're going to be getting a couple of signings and a couple of movements in terms of outgoings. I'm 100% sure about that one. But which players will that be? That is the main question. Which players will we be getting now? What's the latest on Gyokeres? On Friday, I told you guys that Arsenal are sending scouts on Saturday to watch Sporting play against Bilbao to keep an eye on the player that you're looking for the most, that is Victor Gyokeres. But what's the latest on him? Well, this is the latest on him from Graham Bailey. HITC can confirm that Arsenal scouts were in attendance to check on Victor Gyokeres in action against Bilbao on Saturday. Gyokeres has an £84 million release clause, but there is belief that Sporting CP could now accept a deal nearer £60 million. Now, could this be one of the reasons why Edwards traveled back to England quickly to get some results from the scouts and all that? You never know. That could be the reason. Now, there's no need of boring you in terms of how good Gyokeres is and how much Arsenal fans want him. You already know how many Arsenal fans want Gyokeres, basically almost the entire fan base. The Osimhen one is quite unlikely because of the money and the everything else involved. That is very unlikely. But for the Gyokeres one, it's still a huge possibility. At the moment, it's only Arsenal who's been talked about in terms of being linked to Gyokeres, and the money is not as high as Osimhen, and the attitude problems with Osimhen, I think that would affect his move to Arsenal, the wages and all that. It's pointing out to be Gyokeres more than Osimhen. But the question is, when would we be able to hear about a direct contact with the player, direct contact with the team, a first bid, that terms agreed and all that? That will take a couple of weeks for sure. But at least we do know that you're following the player. That is the main thing. If you aren't talking about a strike at all, I know many people would be very sad and worried. But we are talking about Gyokeres. We've just sent scouts, which means we are definitely serious about him. Now, the reason why we are sending scouts is not really because we're not sure about the player and can he really score goals? Is he good enough? No. I think the main reason why we sent scouts there is because of the recent operation that he's had. So I guess they've sent scouts there to look at how he's recovered from that injury, and if it is worthwhile to make that bid for him or to try and sign him this transfer window. That would be the main reason why we send scouts there. Now, I don't even know what the result was against Bilbao over the weekend, or how many minutes he played or whatever. Need to keep an eye on that one. But this is one that I'm expecting us to try and make a move for sure this week. When, I have no idea. Listen, we still have 3 weeks to go until the Premier League starts. So if you can get him in the next 2 weeks, absolutely fine. Even if you can get him in the last week before the Premier League starts, absolutely fine. The season is long. The season is 9 months. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't really mean that if you don't get him this week, we don't have to get him, or it's a bad idea to get him. No. Even if you get him on August 12th, 3 days before the season starts, it's fine. He'll probably miss the first game of the season, but as long as it's there for the rest of the season, it's still beneficial for us. I would love him to join us right now, today or tomorrow, to get involved in the preseason games that are remaining, Liverpool, Leverkusen and Lyon, but that will be a difficult deal to do. It's not going to take 2-3 days. We have to agree terms. We have to agree with the team, that release clause, the wages, everything. It's going to take a lot of time to do all of that. Probably the same amount of time it took with the Calafiori deal. Unless you had already made progress before, I am not sure. But we have to wait and see. This one would take a lot of time. And would any other team come in for him if they hear that, hey, Sporting are reducing the price? I don't think it's only going to be Arsenal going for him, especially if we hear Sporting are reducing the price, you will hear 2 or 3 other teams want him. Now, it's going to depend on how much you've done in terms of agreeing personal terms with the player. And if he really wants to join Arsenal, that is what would matter. But at least we are making some moves for him. And this was reported a week ago. Sporting are willing to drop the price to 60 million. If they drop it to 60 million, Will Chelsea come back for him? Will other teams come back for him? We have to wait and see. But I think that would be a good deal. Let's wait and see what happens this week with Victor Gyokeres. So we did send scouts there, and that is the latest on that one.